we're just going to go ahead and get started because, well, I'm 1 minute late, so might as well, right? So we have 1 hour to do this. You guys already know what the title of this workshop is. So I'm going to try to create a short film shot in 1 hour, which basically means I'm going to walk you through the whole process of, one single shot from beginning to end. And also talk about how to make things quickly, how to do things in a timely manner. That's a very important thing to learn, especially as an independent artist who's trying to get as much output as possible as one person. So that's what I do, and I like to think I'm okay at it. So we're gonna show you this shot real quick that I prepared on the plane here. It's, I try to do as fast as possible. It's not that much, it's like 2 seconds, so just check it out for a bit. I'm gonna turn the sound. And there's no sound. Oh, there we go. So that's all it is. It's just a very simple sort of action-y shot. We're gonna do a little bit of animation. We're gonna do everything from scratch. I'm gonna load up the startup file. And we're gonna try to do this in an hour or less, ideally less, because I'm 1 minute late. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you real quick. This is the startup file. This is what we're gonna start with. But one important rule that we want to start with anything that if you want to do something quickly, you don't want to make everything from scratch yourself. So what I did, this is, funnily enough, actually something that I made, but it's available on the Blender Cloud for free, which is a Toon character that I created for the Toon character workflow series. And it's totally free to download. It's publicly available. And this is what we're going to be using for the project, in case you can't tell. And yeah, so what you want to do is you want to use as many assets as you can from online, because there's so many, especially for Blender. And so if you can use a character and edit it yourself or something like that to work a little bit faster, you want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and bring this file open because I already downloaded it. And this is, of course, just rigged with Rigify. There's an extra face rig in here that I added. But it's very simple. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and select everything that we need to. And I could append something, but I like just copying it into a buffer, deleting everything, and then pasting it here. So now I have this thing. I'm going to go ahead and real quick bring in the Rigify text file. In case you guys don't know, Rigify needs that particular text file to actually work. But once you get the rig working, there we go. Okay. Once you get the rig in your scene, that's already, boom, you have a character. So once you have this character, I'm going to go ahead and open this up in GLSL so we can get the shading in there. There we go. And this is all done in internal. And then once you have that, you want to have, we want 2 characters. We also want an environment, right? If you want the environment, well, you could also download stuff. I did have something I wanted to download, but for sake of simplicity and time, in this particular case, we're just going to add a plane because a plane works pretty good for the ground if you're not going to be looking at the whole thing. So we're going to add a plane, and we're going to focus mostly on the workflow here. There we go. And make things a little bit faster. Look at that. This is the most immersive, highly detailed environment. I'm just going to add a quick little shader here, which is pretty simple to set up. This is a Toon shader that you can do with a Lambert. It's very, very simple. But I'm just going to add a gradient there. And that should give you some basic shadows, which is nice. Add a sun lamp. There we go. So with this guy, it does have shadows, right? Oh, it doesn't have shadows. Ignore what I said. Anyway, so there's a plane here, and we have an environment. Now, this guy here, what we're going to do is we need another character, right? Obviously, we have this guy. His name is Archibald. He's a very cute little snowman, right? Everybody can agree he's cute, right? I tried really hard to make him look cute. No, he's a cute little snowman that, even if you were to model him yourself, it wouldn't take too long. And working with these simple assets is important for getting a quick workflow down. But and toon shading helps a lot, and we're going to talk about that later when we start rendering, because we're going to render today too, within an hour, which is, for a lot of people who work in cycles and stuff like that, it's absolutely unheard of. And trust me, I used to work in cycles all the time, and yeah, it's ridiculous. So great engine, though, great engine. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of set up a simple camera here. We added the camera here. Oh, let me turn on screencast keys real quick for you guys. This will be a basic setup, and we're going to go ahead and create the other character. Now, the other character, in this particular case, again, you can simply choose whatever downloaded character you want as the second one. But I'm just going to go and duplicate this guy. And as you guys know, we have Archibald here twice. But it'd be nice if he had a different name and a different look, right? So case you guys didn't realize, in the original, we have right here, this is Archibald, and I named this guy Bald Archie because he's bald. Anyway, so I want to go and take off his hat, right? So that's just gonna be a simple differentiator real quick. But nope, did I choose the wrong one? I did, that's the line layer. There we go. Do this real quick. I'm gonna change the color of his scarf because I can. Create a new instance of that. There we go. And there we go. And so just to tell you guys a little bit about myself while I do this, I am a 3D animator who owns a YouTube channel. And on my YouTube channel, I have, how many subscribers do I have? 274,000 or something like that subscribers. So it's been nice. It's been growing. It's not huge, but I make a lot of animations. Like I used to make Minecraft animations. I used to make some League of Legends animations. Right now, I'm doing some Overwatch animations. Any of you guys play Overwatch? Yeah? No? Okay. And I also did Katsu Cats, which won a it was a Suzanne Award winner last year. So that's what I do. I like the toon shaded style these days for the simplicity of it all, particularly for the fast workflow. Because as a YouTube animator, the market for YouTube videos is if you make a video once a year, it's very hard to maintain that kind of an audience for your particular channel. So what you want to do is you want to have, ideally, right? Let's talk about ideals, right? Ideally, you want to make a video once a week. And as an animator, that's like, oh no, that's not going to happen, right? So I don't do that yet. I tried, but I'll make a video maybe every 2-3 weeks if I can. And these are usually what I do is I do a lot of action videos, which is why we're doing a particularly action-y kind of thing here, because I'm used to animating action. So what we're doing right now is I'm just going to pose this guy real quick, and because we're basically recreating the shot that we did before. I'm going to make this guy look a little evil. But this part of the process is if you're familiar with animation, you're just going to kind of go through it. It's not that animation heavy, to be honest. It's mostly just posing here. But I just want to show you the animation process itself. So I'm going to go and save this out because that's a good idea. I'll say Archibald, workshop, real thing, because I did a few trainings earlier. Okay. So once we have this guy posed, right? We can play. Forgot to turn on auto keyframe. Oops. There we go. So once we have this guy posed, right? We can. What happened? What the? There we go. So let's keep it PG, guys. This is family friendly. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put this guy here. He's gonna be off to the side. And very quickly, if I can get this, it's been 10 minutes so far, and we already have a scene set up, right? So that's pretty good. We're in good shape, and what we want to do is we want to get to a point where, I'll say, maybe another 10 minutes or so, we should be done with the animation. So we're going to try to get this done in that time. I'm going to go ahead and just do a basic amount of timing. I'd say, wait, where'd it go? Oh, they're sharing the same action, aren't they? No, they're not. I don't know. There we go. Let's see what we got here. Is it because of the rig UI? Nope, everything's good. Cool. Exactly as planned. So I'm just going to set this up here. And yeah, let's just say, I think we're going to have him sort of just stand here for a little bit. Maybe he'll just he'll start, and maybe he just stopped running or something like that. So we'll just sort of bring him this way and have his hands come out this way a little bit. Yep. It's a very rough animation. Let's see. There we go. Wait, where'd his hand go? There it is. Okay. And let's see, something super easy. And once he gets here, he's going to stare at something. We got to give him a little bit of characterization, right? At the very least. And so he'll be standing here like he's supposed to be scary or something. And once he's there, I'm going to say, about And I'm gonna go ahead and call it 15 frames. So we're gonna bring that in just a little bit. There we go. And then right here, in fact, before I even do that, I'm just gonna go ahead and animate this guy because I know what I want, and you guys know what I want because you already saw it. But what's important for animating quickly is if you can get a vision in your mind as soon as possible before you start animating. That's very, very helpful, right? So ignore the stretchy limbs. It's fine. That's normal. It's healthy. Snowmen do that all the time, right? This is yeah, looks great. I want to turn off IK, yeah, okay, excellent. So I have that. There we go. And because I already know, for those of you guys who just came in, I already know that this guy's going to get punched. So we're gonna have him get punched by Archibald, and poor old bald Archie over here is just going to fly off. So I already know, like, okay, approximately. Since I'm already on the train of thought, my mind is on this character, right? The bald Archie character. He is going to be. Oh, he has a red scarf. He is going to go ahead and be the guy I finish animating first if I can, just because I already know what I want and it's in pretty good shape. Now, if you want to keep your mind as focused as possible, sometimes finishing up the character that you're working on right now to a certain degree is good. You want to bounce between the two if you want to have a good interaction between two characters, but for right now, it's a good momentum to carry through. One other thing I want to point out while I'm working here is that something that's a lot of people do value already, but don't really understand why it's important because they mostly think about rendering for when it comes to computer speed, right? You think about, okay, I need a good CPU or a good GPU. A lot of people are like, okay, so I can render faster, right? That's important to me, and I think that is very important, especially for getting stuff done quickly. But what a lot of people don't realize, and what a lot of people like about Blender, I imagine, is being able to work very quickly. And having a decent computer, a decent laptop or desktop that can essentially not freak out whenever you press a lot of keys or try to move geometry over while you animate, and it can play back at a reasonable speed in the viewport, that's very important for what I like to call working at the speed of thought. So what you want to do when you work fast is you want to have, your mind is active and your mind wants to see a certain thing. You have a vision in mind already. And if you can't, if you can't move your characters as fast as your mind is moving your characters for you, or as fast as you would like it to be, then what you're going to have is you're going to have sort of like a brain dead moment every time I don't know if you guys have that moment where like your software just kind of freezes for a second, and then your mind just sort of freezes for a second because you just can't think anymore. You're expecting something to happen, now it's not happening, and what ends up happening is your momentum dies. And I've noticed this a lot for myself. Whenever I work on a slow computer, my productivity decreases exponentially, not linearly. So that's very important to know. If you every time you have a pause, it slows you down more than just the amount that pause was for. So you want to make sure you decrease those number of pauses as much as possible. So we have this guy, he gets knocked out. I'm actually going to go ahead and create a simple frame here and probably something around here-ish. And then I'm going to do a quick slow-mo technique, which is just to create 2 frames here that are pretty much identical, but drag them out this way. Boom, boom. And create a vector interpolation between there. So that should have a nice, as you can see, off frame. It's a nice little thing there. And then I'm going to go ahead and animate the camera because, again, I already know what I want. So I'm actually animating Archibald last. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy started here, and we're just going to go ahead and do this. Yeah, sure. So that's pretty good, right? So we have a nice camera shake there. It's already done. I'm going to go ahead and go here to the graph editor and take the location of, I think it's the x-axis. What am I? Yeah, x-axis of the camera. And I'm going to do a quick zoom out, right? So we want to do a quick zoom out. And obviously knowing how to use your tools as efficiently as possible is also very important. I didn't use the graph editor for a very long time when I started animating, but now that I have, it's much nicer to be able to just sort of edit these curves, and sometimes easier to do that than to edit in the viewport. So use as many tools as you can, but the graph editor and Dopesheet are your friends. like very good friends. Like you guys have been friends for like a long time, but haven't seen each other in a while. And you're like, oh, hey, you know that place we used to hang out? Oh, dude, that place was great. Yeah. That's the graph editor and the dope sheet for you because they will help you so much, so much. Okay, so there we go. Look at that. So that's a really nice sort of zoom out in there. Yeah, right here we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more camera shake for the fast mode, right back into the reality kind of. Boom, there we go. And there we go. So that's basically it for the camera. And I think that will be pretty much the last frame there. So now that we have that beat sort of set out, I mean, you can already look at this and be like, okay, I kind of know what's happening. Kind of. I mean, it's not that good, but let's see if we can get this thing to be in frame, actually. But let's see. This guy seems a little bit too far from where he was before, so we're going to edit that. Oh boy, it's been about, let's see, about 7 minutes ago I said I'd be done in 10 minutes. All right. So I'm going to select this here, and select this here. There we go. And move him to be probably right around there. I think that's good. And then move this right around here. Cool. There we go. And then right here, since I'm already, because again, with the momentum thing, remember, I already have him selected. I already know what I want to do with him, so I'm just going to go ahead and animate him real quick. And there we go. And another thing that was interesting to me that I learned about productivity, a little tip from David Allen when I read a book about getting things done. One rule of thumb that he mentioned, which I kind of take to heart now as well, is if you can do something in 5 minutes, if there's anything on your to-do list that you can do in 5 minutes, do it now. Just do it immediately. Don't put it on your list because you can put it off as long as you want. Because I mean, if it only takes 5 minutes, you're probably not prioritizing it. But the truth is, if you do it immediately, it will only take 5 minutes of your time. You'll get it done, and you'll probably get a lot more done than that because you'll have momentum, and you'll have the other 5 minute thing to do real quick, and then pretty much you'll only spend the next hour or so doing probably 20 things, and suddenly you're much further ahead than if you spent the next 2 hours working on one thing. It can increase your productivity quite a lot because you have a momentum. You feel better about yourself. You check things off. You get that nice satisfaction. It's like, yeah. It actually helps a lot in terms of your mindset. So it's not just time itself. It's all about your mindset. Similar to how I was talking about animating at the speed of thought. You want to be able to do that in the same way where it doesn't hinder your psychological speed, essentially, when you're mentally thinking about these things. So they're not kissing. Don't worry. They're just he's just really happy to see him. No, this is going to be obviously posed to be a punch. So we're going to go ahead and get him punched here. Let's see, what's a nice punch pose? We're just going to go ahead and get this thing posed to be like, ooh. Nope, not that. Not that. Wrong bone. There we go. There we go. Right, family friendly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this-ish. There we go. And we're going to have the other arm, of course, touch his face in a very violent way. And anyway, you know what I mean. So this is supposed to be here. Wow, you can't. What? Hello. No, this is. He's a little too close. Yeah, but actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cheat. Let's see if I can cheat here. And see, one great thing is, in case you guys didn't notice, I animated the camera beforehand, and that's not something that you have to do. It depends on your personal preference, but what's great about doing that, a huge difference between animating the camera beforehand and not, is that you can animate to the camera. So I can actually I feel like he might be a little bit too short, so I'm just going to pull him up, and no one's going to know. Once I pull out, I'll have to bring him back to the ground, but it's a nice little one-frame cheat or something like that. Let's pull him back a little bit. There we go. Actually, you know what? He should be a frame after this. I'm going to bring him back this way for this frame. So this is just going to be some anticipation, an anticipation frame here. And these arms always freak me out. Like, I swear to God, they're just not supposed to do this, but it's handy to have. But every time I animate him, he looks like a spider or something. Okay, so this is a spider snowman. It's like the new snow angel, but creepier. Okay, so he's gonna kind of look this way, and Oh, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's fine. You can't see his feet anyway. So again, with the laziness, that's very important. Be lazy if you want to get stuff done. Wait, no, that doesn't. Anyway, yeah, if you want to get stuff done, be as efficient as possible. And if you have to cut corners, then and you know how to cut the corner that you want to cut, it's entirely viable. I mean, don't I know a lot of people who will go the extra yard to do something that you're never going to notice. And for me, that's too much. I mean, it's a good idea to go as detailed as you can, especially depending on the production quality that you're expected to have. But for my personal projects, because I'm uploading on YouTube, where not a lot of people expect professional quality, but you still want the quality to be good, so you make something that's enjoyable to watch. And at the end of the day, what I really like, I don't know if you guys know who Monty Ohm is, but he's a fantastic animator. And unfortunately, he passed away, I think, 2 years ago. But he worked for Rooster Teeth on Ruby. He was incredibly productive in his workflow. I think he one of the red trailer for Ruby, which is the first premiere of his animation style for that show, he did in a week. I think it was like a 3-minute piece, a fight piece. He did it in a week. So that dude is a monster. But he said something that was really interesting about omitting details that I've taken to heart as well. Where basically, at the end of the day, it's a movie. And when people watch movies, what they care about is what's happening. You know, there's a lot of mistakes in his work. If you look at his work, it doesn't look very professional or anything like that. But the animation and the composition and the camera work is so fantastic that you don't care or notice, and you have a good time watching it anyway. So if all you want is for people to have a good time watching it, then you don't really have to have 3,000 samples in your render or the most high poly model you can get. So that's just something to note whenever you want to do something that's quick and not like a 2-year project or something like that. And when you work as an individual, you can very easily get to a 2-year project. Just so you guys know, it's ridiculous. So let's see here. Let's see what we have. Oh, he looks way too happy. Look at that. That is a psychopath. That is those are the eyes of a psychopath. Maybe that's still more psychopath. Okay, let's bring that down. There we go. Look at that. He's not happy about it. No, not at all. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so from here, yeah, it's pretty good, but is it great? Not really, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm just gonna have. I'll move that back. What now? Can't move that back. Okay. Bring this in just a little bit more, so it comes in sooner. There we go. That feels a little better. And now we do want some nice follow through here, but the next step, of course, is just a couple poses, and then we'll be done. So once we get the animation done, just to go through the rest of the process with you guys while I'm working here. The animation is, of course, going to take up the most time for most projects, and that's totally normal. And if you want to spend a lot of time on something, then you probably want to spend it on the animation. That's going to be what people notice the most. So much so in the fact that, so as you guys know, since I'm working on this right now, and technically I did create this character, I'm technically a generalist, right? So I do everything from the beginning to the end. I work on all my projects on my own. And whenever someone asks me what I do, what do I say? Well, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this. I say I'm an animator, because nobody knows what a generalist is, right? So it's like, when it comes down to it, most people are going to recognize you for your animation, not for anything else that you do if you're going to do everything. So you want to spend time on the animation because that's what people care about. That's what people that's what they see, you know? So that's just an important note. So if you have to spend time on something, just spend it on the animation. What you don't want to do is spend it on the rendering, but that happens. Ideally, right? Ideally, the rendering takes no time at all. But of course, it takes a lot of time. And that's why I've switched over to a more toon shaded style in my recent works, because it does, first of all, it helps the viewport play back a lot faster. I mean, I can see the shading as I work, which is great. But in general, yeah, that's animation can be the longest thing you spend on, maybe rendering if you have to, and then probably rigging. Rigging is also super important, because that makes the animation go faster. Okay, so that's pretty good. Once we get this this part done, it looks like I have him flying off a little sooner than I originally anticipated. So we're just going to bring this guy forward just a little bit. And again, check this out. The dope sheet is your friend. You guys are such good pals. Look at that. I mean, you can just move the keyframes forward. All your timing is. Well, hang on. All your timing is fit. No, hang on. All your timing is. There we go. Wait. Come on, buddy. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So that's pretty much. I mean, one thing about one advantage of working in Blender is the dope sheet. In case you guys aren't familiar with Maya, Maya doesn't really have a dope sheet, and I have publicly denounced them for that several times. It's incredible because I started in Blender, and that means that I have a very clear bias towards Blender. But after working in Blender for so many years and then trying out Maya, it's incredible how people think that the dope sheet wasn't necessary for some reason for animation. They do most of their keyframe editing in the graph editor or in the timeline, which is just crazy to me because there's a lot of stuff where you don't need the graph editor because it's very simple translations, and there's a lot of times where you need a little bit more than just the timeline. So dope sheet's a nice in between. So much so that I used it exclusively for like 2 or 3 years. But wow, that's a bad pose. But yeah, that's pretty much good enough. So gee, what are you doing? Are you picking weeds out of the? Okay, there we go. Sure, why not? So that was basically the animation pro. You guys want to watch this back? Let's see if it looks good or not. I haven't watched this yet, have I? Okay, there we go. That's pretty good. What do you guys think? It's okay? It's ish? Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay. So, he did, right? He pretty much did. He looks a little happy about it, but he's dead. So once we get that done, let's see, how much time do we have left? We have, it's 9 a.m. in the US. I don't know why I said that. But my computer is US time, so I'm just, I don't have a clock with me. But so we have about 30 more minutes. But the other stages of the process, because we're going to go into compositing, we're going to go into sound as well, if we can, because that's also part of a finished product. But of course, I have some sound files that I brought in myself, but you can find those online pretty easily as well. So what we're going to do real quick is, let's see, compositing. Before compositing, we're going to throw in a little bit of effects. Just a little bit of effects, because effects are important for a lot of things. So I'm just going to do a quick thing. I can't speak English. I'm going to do a quick thing here where we add a particle system. Now, particle systems for effects are your other friend that shows up at the party sometimes, that you think he's pretty cool. He's pretty useful, but you don't like hanging out with him too much because he takes up a lot of your time. But this is this is a particle system, very simple particle system. This is the plane right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy that frame, bring it over here, and emit, let's say, I don't know, 50 random particles at the 16th frame with a completely random emission velocity, and then have 10, probably like 20. I don't know. Let's try 20. And I'm going to bring in the rotation to be random. And let's see. I'll mess with that later. Bring the size. I'm just going to guess I'm going to want like a 0.2. And then, we can play this back and see what this looks like. As you can see, there's like a nice little explosion there. But it's just dots right now, right? We don't want dots. We want something interesting, like, I don't know, debris or something. I'm just using the wrong hotkeys. There we go. And so I'm just going to take this thing real quick. This is a trick that I learned a while ago. If you want debris, nice low poly debris, just add a subsurf modifier, add a decimate modifier. Super easy. Look at that. It's like a nice, like, randomized piece of rock or something. I don't know. Add a shader on it, and we have something that is pretty simple to do. Actually, I could just copy this guy's shader. There we go. And once we have that, in fact, I'll make this just a little bit darker just to differentiate it. There we go. Sure, why not? Just looks, that's fine. And I'm going to go ahead and call this debris, right? Something easy to find, because I'm going to go ahead and bring it into the other layer over here to hide it, because I don't want you to see my secrets. And then go to Object, Debris, look at that. So we have that. We're going to go and randomize the size a little bit. And here we have the particle system exploding at frame 16. That's pretty good, but I kind of wanted that frame 15 just to get a nice little head start there. Oh, wait, hang on. Turn off the emitter for the render. And once we get that emitted, you might be thinking, well, Dylan, it's slow-mo. Are you crazy? Adding particles in a slow-mo? What are you? Yeah, I know. I'm crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the time step keyframe here. And this is just a quick, dirty effect. If you want to use particles for effects, you can get a lot of stuff done in a really short amount of time, which is why I'm showing you how to use this. But also to, let's see, something like that would be good, I think. Boom. Nah. Well, if we do that, we can do this. That should be good. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Right? Okay. And bring the time step there. Bring this over here. Dope sheet is your friend. Duplicate the keyframes. And then right when the camera starts going back into real-time mode, just bring that back into 0.04 time step, which is the real time. Cool. So we got some nice effects there too. And then we're going to go ahead and do some compositing. So this is kind of related to effects because what I'm doing is basically just some lens distortion and some impact frames. So if you want to keyframe anything, you just press I on a value, which is fantastic. I love Blender. So you just bring it here. I'm just going to say like around, this frame, which I think is probably 15. That's 16. Sure. So if we just invert the render right around here for like 3 frames or so, and then bring it back, then you have some nice impact frames that you can't see until I render. So we're going to go ahead and play blast this real quick because I'm sure you guys are dying to see it play blasted. So we're going to go ahead and save this out somewhere that makes sense. Let's see. Sure, why not? Archibald, real dude, man, show. Okay, so we're going to do that. Click this button, this magical button, and I have it in OpenGL, which is great, so I can just see everything as it is with all the shading and everything. And play this back. Let's see. Wow, that's small. What the? It's the resolution of the. Anyway, let me pull it up over here. There we go. Oh. Oh, PNG sequence. There we go. This will be easier to view. But yeah, so notice how fast that. Oh wait, hang on, that's a real render. No, notice how fast that rendered. It was a play blast. No wonder. But when I actually render it out, it'll probably take probably 5 minutes or less. So we're gonna, I could zoom out. Yes. Here we go. That's the old one. So this is the play blast. It's it's a decent animation. We have the effects here that just offers a little bit of stuff, but it needs a little bit more, right? We need a little bit of impact or something like that, which is why they're called impact frames. So we have this little thing here where we have the impact frames where you just sort of invert it, and I'm also going to add some chromatic aberration because why not? Why not? There we go. So I'm going to bring this like 0.5, I think, and just match the keyframes here. Bring this down to 0 real quick. Bring it up to 0.5 here. Bring this back down to 0. So with that, we have some nice effects, and we can try rendering it out right now. Am I done already? That can't be that fast, right? No way. They said quietly in their minds. Yes. So we can watch this render for a bit. As you can see, each frame takes a number. What 1 second, 2 seconds? Yeah, there we go. So it's about 1 or 2 seconds per frame. It's not that much. I believe actually before I do this, I can actually end it on frame 40. So I'm going to do that real quick. There we go. And let's do this again. Now I'm going to render this out, and then. It's 05 right now. No, 405? I think it's 405 right now. So we have 25 more minutes before the end of the time here. And that's quite a lot of time. Now we have this render to go through, and then once we do that, I'm going to bring it into the video editor because we can do that in Blender. and I'm going to add some sound to it. So this is all with Blender, nothing really external except for the sound that I'm going to bring in, which is from YouTube or something. Legally, of course. I don't know, yeah. But there's a lot of sound file assets that you can find online. There's a lot of modeling assets and a lot of, oh wow, what was that? That was a crazy impact frame. Did you guys see that? Oh, look at that. That was, might be a little bit too much. We'll figure it out. But there's a lot of models out there. If you guys don't know about blendswap.com, if you guys don't know about blendswap.com, it is a fantastic free asset Creative Commons library. And there's also a search engine called Yobi 3D, in case you guys haven't heard of that. Yobi 3D is basically, it's a search engine made for 3D models. I can show you guys real quick. Yobi 3D is a free 3D model search engine. It specifically filters the web for the ones that you can download for free. So you could just look up, you know, snowman, and it will show you hopefully nothing inappropriate. Let's see. There we go. See, we got a bunch of snowmen here. And so you can actually download these all for free because they make sure that's, you know, open game art. You can just go here, download source. It brings you to the page that you can download it on. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there that you can get for free if you know where to look. And I say that because it's super important to work with assets that previously exist or with assets that you've made before as well. That's totally viable. That's pretty cool. Wait, how do I zoom out from the player? Which one? No, that just made it faster. Yeah, well, anyway. We have... Control which one? No, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. We have the video file right here. Oh, is it for show 40 or for show 46? So these are the impact frames here. I mean, it was really simple. There you go. So we have the invert and then the chromatic aberration there, just to get some extra impact. And you can kind of feel it. You know, it's like, oh man, they don't like each other at all. Well, this guy seems happy about it. I don't know. He's sort of, yeah. But maybe that's his thing. I don't know. But so that's. I mean, from here, we're pretty much already done with the animation process. We have all the visuals done. It's not my best work, but it's pretty good. And so we have something that we can work with for the sound, which is basically the last step. Bring this over into the video editor here, and we can just go ahead and bring in the movie. So we have, where am I? Wow. There we go. So we can bring in the movie, which is for show 40. And again, we have this here. Look at that. And we can bring in some sound. So we have some basic, very, very easy to find combat sounds here that I downloaded before. Blood splatter we don't need because there's snow. There we go. We have some nice cinematic boom, low frequency. Here's a quick tutorial on sound design. You want to have as much of a range as possible with your sound. So I'm going to add the bass there first, and then we're going to add a simple hit. That's a little too early. Where'd it go? Huh. Okay, cool. There we go. Gotta turn on A/B sync for that. Okay, so, man, that sounds painful. Cool. So that's pretty much it. I can add a nice like swish, swoosh, 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 right here for the ending of that. And you know, that's pretty basic sound. I mean, you can add a few more things in there. I think. Do I have any like? Oh yeah, let's add some thunder. You know, just get some. Ah yeah. Yeah, and he's really doesn't like him. He's just okay. So that's the general process of things. Yeah, that's pretty good. What do you guys think? Yeah, not bad. Okay. Alrighty, so then the last step is just to render it out with an audio codec. And let's just put this, say, final, which is never really the final, ever. Never works out the way you want it to. But here we go. We have the sequence render done, and we have a zoomed-in version of the vid. Hang on. And then we have this. So this was a pretty short clip, obviously, but if you wanted to extend this to every single one of your shots, you could. And that's something that if you make something from beginning to end, you learn a lot more about how to finish something than if you were to try to start something and then keep starting another thing and then another thing, and never finishing something. You end up with a lot of unfinished projects, first of all, but also never really learning how to finish your project. And that's something that's really important. If you ever want to increase your productivity as an artist, I think it's a lawnmower. If you ever want to increase your productivity as an artist, you want to learn how to finish something. And that's based a lot on setting deadlines, budgeting your time, and finding as many assets as you can that you didn't make. I know it sounds like stealing, but it's usually free anyway, so just take it, it's fine. So yeah, so for me personally, as a YouTuber, I always set deadlines for myself. I always give myself, a certain amount of time to do each certain process. I'll be like, I'll give myself this much time for modeling if I have to model, and then try to finish it in that time, and then move on to the next step. But if you did want to create a shot from start to finish, for each shot, just to get yourself some exercise in actually finishing something, then you could, and that's exactly how you would do it. So that's basically it for my demonstration, but since we do have some extra time, and if you guys are interested, I could take a question or two if you guys have any questions about the process. Yes, in the back.
Sorry, could you use the microphone, please?
Yes, thank you.
Can we just have the name of your YouTube channel?
Oh, sure, yeah. My name is Dylan Gu, and my YouTube channel name is Dylan Gu. No, it's spelled D-I-L-L. I have to pull it up, whatever. It's like a Dylan Gu. It's spelled with 2 O's and 2 L's, and it's another O. That's a terrible way to explain it. Yeah, it's... There we go. So it's D-I-L-L-O-N and then G-O-O. So obviously it's a play on my own name. But that's, you guys want to watch the trailer real quick? It's like a minute. Yeah? Okay, sure. Here we go. Yay! Thank you. So that was a culmination of many years of work, but it was all done in Blender. So everything that you saw there was pretty much 100% Blender. Some After Effects here and there, and I use Vegas for my editing software usually, but it's, I didn't really learn any other software, so I'm kind of in a bind here. No, it's great. I love Blender. So of course I use it all the time. So yeah, that's basically, that's my channel. Hope that answered your question. Any other questions? Yes.
What was your learning curve? So you've knocked this one out in 1 hour. How long would that have taken you, let's say 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and so on?
That's a very good question. So I've been doing this for about 6 years, almost 6 years now, not even. So I basically, when I first started learning Blender, I had winter break and spent the entire month, 12 hours a day learning it. So that was sort of my obsession for a while. And so I would say right after that period of time when I started learning a lot, I had already started making animations I think my current speed was probably something like probably 2 times as fast as I used to be, I think. So I would say this might take me a little, maybe like 2 hours before, maybe a little longer, since there's some stuff here that I didn't know about back then that may have just taken me a little bit longer. But in general, not too long, and I think that's important to know just for anyone. If you do get started now, everything here is pretty basic. I mean, you can learn all the steps, all the techniques here, you know, in a few hours, in my opinion. You can get dope sheets very, very intuitive. The animation stage of things, of course, you have to learn a little bit about the principles of animation. But besides that, you have the assets that you can download that doesn't take very much time or skill. And rendering is very straightforward, and you have the compositing nodes. Once you get used to it, it's very easy to learn. And yeah, I would say it is very simple to get started. I wouldn't say it's an incredible difference between now and 6 years ago in terms of my creating this one shot. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
So I've been following you for quite some time.
Oh, thank you.
I know you have a motion capture shot. How and when do you use it, and why?
Yes.
Or why don't you?
Good question. I do have a motion capture suit. It's Perception Neuron, a very cheap cameraless system. It's maybe 1,500 USD for an entire suit with fingers, and it's great considering most mocap systems cost upwards to 30,000 or something like that. So it's a very cheap solution and very affordable for independent artists. Now, I don't use it all the time. I actually don't use it very much, but when I do use it, it's to speed up my workflow, and it does work really, really well for that. Everything that you saw in there in my trailer was mostly hand animated. A lot of the more realistic renders with the 3 black girls with the different colored elements on them, they are partly motion captured, partly hand animated. And then a lot of Ruby, which I worked on, was motion captured because that's how their workflow works as well. But everything else is all hand animated. So when I do want to use it, it's mostly because I'm on a deadline or something. But I personally prefer hand animation. I prefer hand animation because it gives me more control. It gives me more composition control, which is really important for posing and stuff like that. But it's very, very handy. I do recommend it. Yeah. Any other questions?
Do you do a lot of like extra client work outside of the stuff that you do for YouTube? Or?
I do a little bit. Most of my time is actually spent on my channel, but I do take a little bit of extra freelance work here and there. One of my trailer elements was a Minecraft piece for Captain Sparkles. I don't know if you guys have heard him. He does a lot of Minecraft animations every now and then, and it's a huge project usually. So he hired me 1 year to work in Maya, unfortunately. Why would I do that? No, it was a great project to work on, though. And it was a great learning experience. I found out how much better Blender really was. So it was great. But yeah, so I do take some. But my most recent extra client work was with Blender. And I did the Fundamental series. So if you guys have seen the Blender Fundamentals videos on the YouTube channel for Blender, that's me talking about whatever it was I talked about, cubes or something. Yeah. So the Blender Fundamental series is a good way to get started as well if you guys are interested in learning about the fundamental techniques in this video as well. Any other questions? Yes.
How do you manage like larger projects with like multi-shot setups? Do you work like in your own files, or do you have like scene setups? How do you do that?
Yeah, so I'm mostly self-taught, which means I am completely unorganized. Yeah, so what I do is I'll usually have an environment set as a separate file, and then I'll try to link that if I can. And if I forget to do that, then too bad. It's in my file now, and it's huge. But most of the time, it's mostly just the background that I will try to separate. The characters I'll usually just have in there for each shot. And then for different shots, like if I'm switching between cameras and stuff like that, it depends on the particular flow and the momentum of the piece. If I'm animating and I want to do, for example, a choreography bit, and I know that they're going to be fighting for 1,000 frames even, right? I've had 1,000 frame projects, and and I already know this is happening, and I want to animate in that same file. I don't want to, again, I don't want to stop my momentum there. Of course, I save versions, always save versions, but I'm going to animate in that same file to make sure I keep animating and don't stop. I don't want to stop my workflow. I don't want to save a new file and delete all the keyframes and then start over again, because it's going to stop me from thinking as much. So I will have that, and then I'll animate the shots as a camera animation, just as a one-frame transition from one to the other. There's other ways you can do it. You can also use markers to change up your camera, your active camera. But I haven't been doing that because it's a little bit more work, and I want to work fast. So I just do a one-frame transition from one shot to another. Yeah, it's all in the same scene usually. Yeah. Any other questions? You got a question over there? That guy?
So I actually missed the beginning of the talk, so you might have answered this already, but Katsu Cats, Overwatch, various things on your YouTube channel. How do you decide what project to go for? How do you decide what to animate? Where does that come from, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so how do I decide what to work on, right? Like what comes next? Yeah, so that's always a big question. I'll say, for example, Katsu Cats was a passion project of mine as a way to test the toon shading. My girlfriend did the concept art, which looks fantastic and helped me out a lot. And so it looks very cute. It's a new style. I was exploring that kind of thing. And then from there, I was able to work on the Overwatch Cats sort of crossover because I loved Overwatch. So a lot of it is sort of inspiration based, like, man, I like this game. I like this franchise. I like this style. And so I'll just try to so I'll try to make something about it. And of course, as a YouTube channel, what you want to do is you want to check what's popular as well, because you want to have a sustainable business. You don't always want to create original pieces because that will be very time consuming because you have to make everything from scratch, and also because not everybody will be interested in your original piece immediately. One thing that Monty talked about as well, he was, of course, a fantastic animator who only got famous after he created his Haloid video, which was a Halo Metroid mashup. And so these are two franchises that are very popular, and then from there he built a career off of it. So what you want to do, if you wanted to make something that was popular, right? If you want to make something popular, usually you don't want to make something original. It's a huge gamble if you make something original. So something that's really good to do is to build off of previous franchises, build off of previous audiences that you can draw from, and then from there, what Monty talks about is he earned the right to create something original in the way that he earned a name for himself, and that name gave that original piece an audience. And with that, you can really sell something really nice. But just from nothing, from no previous audience or anything like that, I'll try to avoid making something super original early on, and then in the future, there's going to be some more original stuff coming along. But I have tons of ideas, right? Everybody has tons of ideas, right? That you just don't have enough time for. And if you don't have ideas, that's just realize that ideas are not that important. What's really important is the execution, right? So if you can execute it well, then it'll be a good idea. If you can't, then it's a bad idea. That's sort of so. Anyway, that's my general rule of thumb. You can check Google Trends if you're interested in that. It's a website by Google, of course, that checks what's popular if you want to try to draw on that audience, but you don't want to sell yourself out. Do something you actually like. I love Overwatch, so I made Overwatch videos. I love playing Minecraft back in the day, so I made some Minecraft videos and stuff like that. So that's important to keep in mind. Keep yourself passionate, but keep it relevant. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes?
How to be featured in one of your videos?
How to be featured? Well, one
As
way.
my art, not myself.
I'm sorry?
My art, not myself.
Oh, just your art?
Can I make something that will be in your video?
Possibly, it depends. Yeah, I mean, one thing is I have a Discord server, which is where my community is usually pretty active. So if you wanted to share something with me, then you can simply join the Discord and talk to me there. I'm always available pretty much. Well, except for when I'm sleeping, which I don't do very often. I probably should. But yeah, so we have about 5 more minutes. Does anybody else have any last minute questions? Otherwise, we'll probably just wrap up a little bit. No, we're good. So yeah, finishing touches, I would say, ultimately, if you're ever in need of motivation to create something and finish something, just watch stuff. Like watch as much as you can, and it really helps writer's block, animator's block, whatever you want to call that particular block. It will help you get over that because watching other people do stuff, watching stuff that's already been made, will give you some inspiration to create more stuff. And I think that's a very important tool to learn when you have a block in your head, whatever that block. Again, why a block? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that's about it, guys. So thanks very much for joining.